Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to review Algorand. So from a top-down view, this is one of the stronger projects in cryptocurrency. It's got one of the strongest computer scientists in the world and the strongest teams working on it to build it. It has one of the strongest governance models in crypto. But it is one of the higher market caps, so it has some weakness from a performance basis there. But overall, this is a must-have cryptocurrency for your portfolio. One of the reasons for that is it has regulatory compliance with many of its partners, and it's taking that approach. Other cryptocurrencies that have taken that approach have done extremely well. And I do expect this one to have performance in the future. Just to get into a quick summary before it, one of the reasons I think that is because the issuance rate is crossing certain thresholds, as well as the maturation of the Algorand Foundation, which is a group of it's like the Ethereum Foundation, but for Algorand, and it's got a $200 million fund, and we're seeing some maturations of that will be coming down the line. So what does this project do? It is a stable, secure, decentralized smart contract platform, pure proof of stake consensus model, and it has immediate transaction finality. They claim that they have solved the blockchain trilemma, and as you have seen in my older videos, in the past, there were people who are critical of blockchain have said that it will not be able to do this. However, this project has solved it, just like Polkadot has and other projects. This project has been solved. We are scalable, secure, and decentralized. And as I said, human beings are capable of solving difficult problems when they set their minds to it. So this being solved, we're going to see massive growth in cryptocurrency. So one of the reasons I like this project, it is an infrastructure project and it has one of these three core capabilities, right? Infrastructure projects are very bullish because they're going for a very large market, and I doubt that the market's going to even be able to be addressed by the with the current crypto projects. As one of my friends has said, the same guy who coined the idea that this is going to be the blockchain decade, he said that this is someone I communicate with. He's very wise as well with his predictions. But he said like projects are going to be inundated. They're going to have too much work for them. And just like Celsius is having difficulty keeping up with onboarding because the growth rate is so massive, this project is one of those that I think is going to have that difficulty. So it is an infrastructure project, and it has different asset types that can be on it. But one of the things I want to point out is that they are security compliant, so they'll have securities on top of it. And I think that is going to be a big market. It's a very large opportunity. So, just smart contracts, being that trust computer, doing standard assets in regulatory compliance on the layer 1, and atomic transfers, meaning if all the code works properly, you can do complex multitasked with instantaneous finality. Okay, so over 500 companies are working with them, and they want to reduce the wall between DeFi and the current financial system. And according to the chief operating officer, the institutions are preferring Algorand to Ethereum 2.0. But of course, you would expect the chief operating officer to have that point of view. All right, so we'll just get into it. I do expect strong price performance. The future increase in demand for the token, I do expect that to be the case. Future market excitement from the token. I expect strong performance despite that it is a well-known project. You're not getting in early. The team, it's one of those medium awareness projects. And so, it's got medium awareness. And yeah, that little thing, that notification you saw, it says that I already did this video once and the sound went out. Anyways, as far as social media is concerned, its awareness is around a medium range, and but you're not getting in early. Let's just put it that way. But I still think that it's going to have strong. I think you're getting in early in another sense, and I'll get more into the details with that. So as far as major upcoming events, 500 companies building with the Algorand Foundation. They have Lots of huge companies working with them. I'm sure we're going to see some announcements pretty soon. And, it's also crossing the 50% threshold in release of issuance. So, one of the things that makes me bullish about this project is people early on saw bad performance in the token. And that was because the issuance was quite high in the beginning. But as you know, if you've seen my content before, mathematically speaking, after the 50% mark, after 50% of tokens are released, that's when you're going to see the strong performance, right? And that I have noticed that pattern. Like once a project gets 50% of its tokens released, up here, if there's dividends and things like that, and if it has a different structure, it depends on the structure. But with projects where it matters about token issuance, you want to wait until they're about close to or about that 50% issuance release. And this project is indeed at that point. So not only did you have people scared away by early performance and early issuance problems, but now it's getting close to that 50% issuance. So that means we're lower than we would be because those early people were scared off. And I think now we're really going to start seeing the price performance in this token. Some money needed to increase the price, go down. Tokens to sell side did decrease. I expect all of these things. As far as inflation, this is one of the higher inflationary projects. It has a pretty high inflation rate, about 15%. And it is not a dividend token, so that's the irrelevant component. But the token supply distribution is over that threshold, so that is starting to get bullish. As far as bear market, it hasn't performed that well, but that's why I'm more excited. It's performed well. It's 3x in 3 months, but I think we're just at the beginning of what is going to be a big run. As far as low market cap, it is not a low market cap. Once again, it is not a project you're getting in super early. But as far as serving a current niche, it does indeed serve a current niche. It is currently serving the Marshall Islands, and that's 58,000 people, or a GDP of 250 million. So that is quite an impressive niche to be serving right now, and it also has live, stable coins and commodities that are already on top of it, such as gold and things like that, and it's growing quite quickly. So once again, I think that this from here on out, this thing's probably going to 10x or something like that. Nothing here is investment advice, however, but I expect this to be one of the stronger performers, especially because of those people who were scared early on and the team, and I'll get into that in a minute. So yes, the token is used for service. It's used for governance. It pays for transaction fees and is used for pure proof of stake consensus. The more stake you put, the more frequent blockchain inclusion you get. As far as the notes, so as from the founder, this is for those who like tech, which is me. It's the explanation of how they've achieved this trifecta. So it's an ever-changing committees. The committee equals about 1,000 users. The committee sends single short message to the next committee set, right? A committee sends a single short message to the next committee set. A committee member select themselves in each lottery. You either heard or you are not in the block inclusion. So if you want to be a validator, you just simply vote for yourself to do it. But you don't know if you're going to be selected or not. And the more algo you have, the more token you have, the more likely you are to be selected. The lottery is selected each microsecond. So you have these massive, quickly changing committees. So you only have really 1,000 validators at any instance. And that's changing quite rapidly. But so that means you can't collude with anyone else because you don't know who they are. And you're reducing the number of validators that is needed for the blockchain at any moment. This is a very interesting approach, and it's unique. This is why I love blockchain. It's, all these different approaches. And this is how they have accomplished this. And this was designed by one of the best computer scientists in the world, okay, this platform. And so I think they have quite indeed accomplished this. And no one knows who is, part of the committee at any moment in time. And if you're projecting something different from everyone else, you're going to be out of consensus and proven to be invalidated. Okay, so that's the explanation straight from the founder. All right, as far as the value of the target market, we're talking about atomic transfer, standard assets, and smart contracts. This is a $400 trillion market, and I think that all the current blockchains are going to be inundated with workflows. So I think we're going to see massive growth in all of the blockchain space. So you could really just, do a well-diversified position. And this project is one of those well-diversified projects that you want to have. non-investment device. Okay, so fees that burn tokens, that's not part of this project. All right, so I keep talking about the founder, so let's get into it. Silvio Misali, I hope I pronounced that right. He picked the development team, right? He picked the development team, and he is one of the best programmers in the world. Okay, so as far as who he is, he's the co-inventor of probabilistic encryption. He also is a co-discoverer of zero-knowledge proofs. And you'll hear every other project referencing this work, this paper. And so zero-knowledge proofs is one of the foundational layers in cryptocurrencies and even in computer science. And this guy on this project is one of the core guys that did that. And you are going to notice people on my Patreon keep saying that, oh, your audio's out. Yes, that's why I have to re-record this video. Yeah, it sucks. Anyways, but I need an editor for my channel so that I don't have to do that in the future. Anyways, verifiable random functions. It's another thing that he did. Okay, so for those who are tech savvy or those who like tech, here we go. Let's go into zero knowledge proofs. What is that? It gives data without revealing a data based on probabilistic knowledge. So if this interactive, there's an interactive and non-interactive, but we're just going to go over interactive. So you have one account and account two unknowing, right? Account one knows some knowledge. Account two doesn't know the knowledge, but it can say account one knows the knowledge, and account one can verify the result. So you have here, this is a super simple explanation. I'm just going to get into that. But a specific result not unique to the data cannot reduce information from result, but can determine result based on the original info. So they run the information through a process, and then it spits out a result. And so they don't know that they've seen the data. The process runs the data through the process, but it doesn't see what happened, but it could see the result, right? Or it knows the process or whatever. And let's say that you have 7 states coming in, 7 pieces of data, and there's only 3 possible results. And so this one particularly right here can have one of the 2 states that came in, right? So there's a 50-50 chance that it is this one or this one. But you will never know for certain. Only the first one could say, yes, I'm in the right result, and it also knows what the result is. But the result doesn't tell you which one it was. And, with bigger numbers, this becomes more secure. You could obviously guess 50-50, right? But with bigger data sets, with bigger numbers, you can see how this could get very difficult. You could have pools of subjects, and you don't know particularly how the information was, but you could see, you can determine that, you can determine the result, but you can never know for sure. Even if I was to pick one of 50-50, I'll never know for sure until the first host tells me what that information is. Okay, also, Silvio, the founder of this project, he won the Turing Award, right? That is the highest distinction in computer science. Okay, there's not many people that win this award. AMC, Association of Computer Machinery. It is the group that gives out that reward, and they're for advancing computing as a profession in computer science. So once again, this is the most distinct reward in computer science, and these people want to, and this guy, the founder of this project, won that award. He has a PhD in computer science from the University of California, Berkeley. As far as another reason I'm very bullish on this project is the CEO they know that they took the tech guy and the business guy, right? And they're two different. This guy is not running the company, which is good. The business guy is running the company. So they divided it based on the business. And this CEO is a very baller guy. He co-founder of Fuse, which had 700 employees, co-founder of Blade Logic. He had clients such as Time Warner, Microsoft, Cable Wireless, Walmart, and Sprint. And it was acquired for $800 million. So he's managed these large companies before. He's got that experience. And by the way, Algorand is a $2.8 billion project. So they've He's got experience with those billion-dollar entities. So yes, he is a unicorn launcher, and he's a co-founder of WebYes Inc., which worked with Netscape and early on internet technology. So he's right up there in the internet booming technology. He was part of the internet boom, and now he's part of the cryptocurrency boom. So this guy knows booms when he sees them, and he likes to be a part of them. So yes, the founder is extremely relevant in computer science, and the CEO is one of the top hitters. So impressive achievements all around. You have inventions as well as billion-dollar startups. That's why I say the management of this project, the CEO, together, this thing is one of the strongest there is. The strategy plus for value management, Blade Logic, and plus for internet tech, and also inventions, like it's having foundational layers of computer science, right? So that's all you need to know right there, right? Ability to solve difficult problems, they definitely do. Current developer team is all-star, and so we know that these things are good. As far as governance is concerned, going to image 2, governance is not algorithmic, whereas consensus is. It is required for personal attention and time according to that purpose. Algorand governance compliance is voluntary. The governance is voluntary. It's compensated. You are compensated for being involved. It is monitored. You are you are observed to be doing the work of governance and proven to be doing so that you can get that compensation. And also you lock up your tokens to be involved with that. So what does that mean? That's one of the most valuable components of a blockchain that's business, right? Is that added voter weight is given for time lockup of tokens. And remember, I've talked about this before in my earlier videos, that is one of the strongest elements a blockchain can have, is that added voter weight for, you want to give more weight to those who lock up the tokens so that you have a long time horizon for your project and it thinks strategically for the long run. So that is why that is such a critical component. I've noticed that in the best blockchains, they will have this. And so, when I consult with projects, I'm going to say, hey, you guys should really consider adding this. Okay, as far as the governance, it's one of the best, and it is that proof of stake consensus, so we know that the token is automatically needed. High value people prioritize upgrades, and there's a treasury. The governance is in control of that, and that's going to ensure that developers are compensated. Developer motivation will be strong because of that, and long-term vision and strategy is going to be great because of that. Okay, so how do we build? So as far as their long-term vision and strategy is concerned, how do we build a technical foundation that will exist in the long term? That's the chief operating officer. And they have global trust through decentralization, simple design that foster adoption, and elegant tech that removes borders, so they're going to scale this thing up, right? As far as long-term vision and strategy, they have a world where everyone creates, exchanges value efficiently, transparently, and securely. They have a clear mission statement, which is what you want to see because it aligns everybody with that clear mission statement. And they do have that long-term vision. They have that strategy, right? Like they're thinking long-term, and they are playing the long game by being compliant, regulatory compliant. They're playing that long game. Okay, strategic partnership and backers. Algo Capital. So they raised over $200 million for their Algorand foundation. And that foundation is, what is on-ramping all these massive amounts of businesses. The Marshall Islands, 250 million GDP with 58,000 people also decided to use it. So that's quite a customer base right there. The chief operating officer, by the way, keep in mind that 58,000 people equaling 250 million. We have 7 billion people in this world that's going to come into blockchain. So think about the size of these projects. Think about how big they're going to get. Okay, so the chief operating office business team has worked for the ground up to be the highest regulatory compliance in every jurisdiction. Right, so this regulatory approach of this project is one of the reasons I'm bullish, as well as the extremely strong team, as well as it being a good time from token issuance. So all these stars are aligning for this thing to really take off. Algorand Foundation, use cases, amazing set of companies. So yes, they have an amazing set of companies working with them. Okay, as far as the team is, they keep their promises. They're wealthy. So one of the things you want to know is that if someone's either already made their wealth or they have determination over time that's going to prove that they're going to go to cross the finish line for your performance. That's what you want to see. They're understanding and they're straightforward. So all of those things show that they're going to deliver that value into the future, right? And that's the things you want to verify. Evidence that management is trustworthy. I mean, you got it. Having one of the best computer scientists in the world, I think that's pretty good right there. Academic contributions to knowledge, and also 126 million raised. People do their due diligence when they do VC investing, and so you can get that VC validation right there, because smart investors are not going to just throw their money in. High value upgrades. Value of service provided to increase. I think there is going to be an increase in value over time as they continue to push forward. Best option of the competition. They're one of the best. It's a huge competitive field. However, the field is so likely we're going to see unrestricted growth from many blockchain projects, and I think this one is just one of those. Foundational layer protocol, well-regulated approach may serve well in securities, so they're probably going to get some of that market share. As far as external transfer catalysts, what will limit people from leaving once they've already established themselves on your system. For these, it's a non-issue for projects like this, because foundational layer projects establish businesses and they entrench themselves in their business models once they get their service networks set up. As far as future marketing plans, they have Paul Milgram, and he's a Nobel Prize economist working with their current marketing, and I know that they're going to continue to push with those efforts moving forward. Team has majority control through token control. Absolutely, the token is in control of this project. That's something you want to see, so that if the team wants to remain in control of the project, they have to hold the token. This token is going to have large business models. This is one of the most bullish things that there is. Working to reflect their needs. You have regulatory approach, which is going to allow for those businesses. You're going to have 200 million in the foundation on-ramping businesses, and you have already 500 plus businesses working with them. So your demand for the token is going to just go up in the future from business in general. Difficulty of internal transfer, I don't think there's going to be any issue, because I think that we're entering a stage where the market is large enough that it's a non-issue. There's going to be so much traffic coming in, it's going to be difficult to service them. Internal transfer catalysts. So once again, likely blockchain providers are going to see an overwhelmed demand, and especially for these foundations, I think we're going to see overwhelming demand for the blockchain space in general. People are using the project. So more people using the project over time, that is going to be the case. It is easy to use. Project will have a lot of buy and sell activity in the future. So what that's basically saying, it will have a big community. I think it will. However, the project is not on any DEXs. That will take time to mature. So this is something that's not contributing to price, and the token is available everywhere. So you're not getting it early before anyone else. Like, you're not buying it at some strange exchange. By the way, you want to have accounts with strange exchanges so that you can get in projects early if you find quality projects before they go on to other exchanges, if you're really serious about beating the herd, so to speak. As far as tokens per person, I think that'll go down, meaning that the price will be contributing to price, because there will be less tokens available per person. And having that added voter weight for governance, that also contributes to that. So that's it. That's the whole thing. And so, as far as the token issuance is concerned, we are reaching that 50% threshold, and it's doing it early because the team. So remember, I said one of the things that made me bullish is they had this really bad issuance in the beginning, and it scared a lot of investors away. But the team has since fixed that. They moved from a 4-year issuance to a 10-year issuance. And so now the rate of issuance is much slower, and we're also approaching that 50% mark. So as far as mathematically speaking, the issuance threshold, we're reaching that, and that is another bullish thing. I've always noticed the biggest price movement is after or close to that 50% threshold. And it makes sense mathematically. One of the reasons for that is if you have a token release, imagine you have let's imagine you have 10 tokens, right? And you have one of them out, right? The moment you release another one, that's 100% inflation. You release a third from the original starting point, that's 200% inflation. From the fourth, that's a 300% inflation. However, from this position, it's only a 25% inflation. From this position, it's only a 50% inflation. So you can see how it goes from 50 to 30% to, whatever the next one is, like 20%. So it drops off quite drastically, right? And once you reach 50%, the most inflation you can have in total is 100%. It's just mathematics, right? All right, so that's as far as issuance is concerned. I think I got everything. Okay, for summary, pros, one of the best computer scientists in the world, excellent CEO. They have their business and their technology separated, which is amazing. Issuance rates scared people away early on, and that's very bullish because now its issuance is much better and its governance is well designed. The cons is a high market cap and higher inflation rates. But I do expect it to be one of the stronger performers. Precisely because of these things. People were scared away in the past, and this is one of those core projects that's extremely strong, especially with having one of the best computer scientists in the world working on you and having solved the trifecta, just like other projects like Polkadot, etc., have solved. So it's one of those projects that's going to service a very large market, extremely valuable project. I definitely say that this is something a must-have project. Okay, guys, if you like this kind of content, please join my Patreon. I put the information there first, and that's really important for smaller projects. Big projects like this, at least you get in early, you get the information early, and you can, you're going to get the information earlier by joining my Patreon. Okay, guys, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. I look forward to bringing the highest quality content I can, and I'll see you guys later.